Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by now. Here's JP.
What is up, JP Petermans? It is a Monday. We have made it through the weekend. We have resurfaced after an incredible weekend of sports, after an incredible weekend of drama. Just whatever. Hope you guys had a great weekend. I am indeed not JP Peterson of the JP Peterson Show. I, on the other hand, am IndyCarTim of the JP Peterson Show. JP, still recovering from his cruise, allegedly, is what he told everybody he was doing this weekend. Supposedly, allegedly, driving back today from wherever he met the boat. I don't know. But you've got me. Hope that's all right. We had a lot of fun on Friday. If you guys missed the Friday show, we had a butt ton of fun, if that's still a thing. Lots of stuff to get into today. We've got our resident FanStream Sports fantasy football expert coming on. Yes, Rick, in fact, allegedly means he just made bail 100%. I think that might be what's going on. We had a text conversation last night on our, good God, the off the rails text thread with me, Big O, and JP. We can publish that thing someday and make some money. I promise you. Doing some back and forth, and JP was already, I guess, stoked about coming back, but he will not be back until tomorrow. And in case if you guys have not noticed, I don't know if JP made an announcement. I don't think he's had time to. So I was always Tuesday through Friday with him. Nick always did Mondays. I don't remember why or how we came up with that schedule. I think it was a JP thing. I think Nick wanted to come on Monday so he could always happen to talk about the Bucs from their Sunday game. Nick is no longer with us. Stay hard, Nick Geddes. He is taking another position that conflicts now with his schedule on the JP Peterson Show. So you guys, who's bald, has a beard, and does Monday through Fridays with JP? This guy. So in case you haven't figured that out or you were wondering where Nick was, Nick's found something that takes priority over the JP Peterson Show, and that's great. It just means you're stuck with me 5 days a week with JP now, moving forward. But lots to get into. We had a couple on Friday. We had a couple of questions about fantasy football as that season gets kicked off, I guess, here shortly. I don't play anymore. I played every year for, good grief, since like 1988 until about 2017. And I just had enough. I didn't have time. Whatever. I never took it super seriously anyway. And a lot of people expected me to. I don't know why. I don't take anything seriously except Applebee's. So I haven't done it in a while, but we had a couple of questions on Friday's show about moving into the fantasy football realm this year. So I thought, hey, who better to have on Monday? Number one, kill a segment that I don't have to prep for. Number two, talk about fantasy football. That is Tito Jeff Thitoff from FanStream Sports Ohio, who is the co-host of Fantasy Football Island with Chad Rink. Tito, his fantasy football credentials and qualifications are off the charts. I believe Tito's been playing fantasy football since, and I mean without stopping, since 1980? 1980. His very first fantasy football draft pick was Brian Sipe. And I know Tito, he's a tad bit younger than me. So that means he was playing fantasy football at like 7 or 8. But you know what? He knows way more about any of this. We'll get into some of the expectations maybe for some of the rookies, some of your potential sleeper picks heading into your fantasy football draft. We'll get into that. Also, Big O will be joining us a little bit later in the show to discuss the crisis mode that the Tampa Bay Rays are in. We talked about it on our text thread over the weekend, and on Friday we talked about it. He really thought they would win the series at least against the Fish. And everything looked great on Friday, but Saturday and Sunday did not go well as, the red flag here, I know the pitching is struggling too, but I still think the bats are a huge red flag here. We're at 10 losses in the last 13 games, 8 of those games at 3 runs or fewer for Tampa Bay. And somehow they still lead the division. So we'll get into all of that with Big O, along with some other stuff. Manny Machado, I have some audio, video of Manny Machado, who, I don't know how I feel about it. I do swear I feel like he's been in the league for 50 years. I know he's in his early 30s, I think. He's been around a little while, but good God, it seems like he's been around forever. Some interesting audio from the aspect of a MLB player and stats that I thought was a little telling, and I'm here for it. Oh yeah, Rick, you know what? Might have something to do with it. Nick had to leave the show after he confessed his love for Busch Apple beer. Man card revoked. Yeah. I did hear about that. I didn't hear it live. I didn't know there was a Busch Apple. I'm not sure why that exists. And I would guess that their number one demographic would be girls from the age of 21 to 23. But, to each their own. I've been known to drink a Zima or two back in the day. And maybe Bartles and James wine coolers back in the day. So I will not judge someone for what they drink, but be prepared to suffer the consequences for what you drink. I'm just saying. That's a great point by Rick. For once, Rick made a couple of great points today, actually. Vazzy has some more hardware. We're going to talk Baker contract. Is there news? Is there not news? Is there an issue? Is there a situation? Is there no issue? Is there no situation? I don't really know. And we've got an interesting aspect from Good Morning Football, and then we'll hear it straight from Baker's mouth, where he is at right now. Before we get into all of that, let's get into Vazzy. As he pulls in his second Vezina award. He, of course, led the NHL 39 wins and 58 starts. He is the 6th NHL goalie ever to post 9 30-win seasons. And his active streak of 9 straight 30-win seasons is second only to Hockey Hall of Famer and noted New Jersey Devil, Martin Brodeur. And that's pretty good company. Yes, John, absolutely. Vazzy is the big cat, and he's showing it now. Now, the way the team presented the award to him was really, really funny. And I don't know if you guys got to see this. Total prank mode. And y'all know Vazzy, all he does is come to work and work hard and then go play hard. He doesn't have time for shenanigans. But the team made sure he made time for some shenanigans with the help of the Tampa Police Department. He received 17 first-place votes, and the margin of victory was pretty significant. By the way, that's 17 out of, 30? 32 ballots. I guess it's one for each team. 17 first-place votes out of 32 ballots. Yeah, and it wasn't close. Interestingly, Avalanche goalie Scott Wedgwood, former Lightning great, had a vote after his performance this year. And, Do the Lightning get enough? Bartles and James never came in 2 liters, Rick. They came in 4-packs, just like all the other wine coolers. I'd never seen Bartles and James in 2 liters. Come on. I did love me some Bartles. Remember was it the 2 old men that did the Bartles and James commercials? And then you had the Seagram's wine coolers that, what's his name? Good grief. Who am I thinking of? Who's the actor not doing well right now? Why can I not think of his name, you guys? Die Hard. Bruce Willis. Good Lord. I need to drink this morning. Yeah, as when I'm about to get into this, John, it was a great award presentation. The Tampa police were involved, and the police dog was involved. Everybody loves the police pup, so you got to get the police pup involved here. You know what? Let's just take a look. Now, this is about 4 minutes long. This is the entire thing that the team posted. So there's some production value. There's music behind it. It's really, really good. And it's, again, a well-deserved award for a great dude. And let's take a listen and a look if you are indeed with us on video.
Yeah, this thing's bulkier than the Stanley Cup.
I get a call from Brian, and he's like, hey, we're going to surprise one of the players. He won one of the awards.
Kind of touched on little things about how we can get his attention without him knowing that it's supposed to be a surprise.
We want to do a ruse with law enforcement and put this award into his vehicle.
We were asked to help present an award to Mr. Vasilevsky. Told him that we're going to search his car and get the dog out and do a big show for him.
Andre Vasilevsky is about as regimented as I've ever seen of an athlete. That goes in the offseason, the way he works out. He does not take days off. That's a guy that is so regimented and so exact in everything that he does. And the idea that, oh my God, there's something with his car. There's something suspicious. What is happening?
Hello, how are you? I'm Officer Hughes.
Andre.
Nice to meet you. There are some officers chased some guys over here from a neighboring parking lot. The security guard said that they saw him run into this area. One of the vehicles, I was advised, was your vehicle, correct? Maybe over here. Over there, yeah. Do you mind walking with me over this way?
Yeah.
When he came out of the arena, there is some shock and concern. You could see kind of his chest pounding a little bit. K9, what they're going to do, they're just going to walk the dogs around to see if there's anything suspicious.
That's an alert.
So the dog alerted on something on your vehicle?
Whenever you bring a dog around, people think it's pretty serious. Yeah. So it added that extra level of seriousness to the situation.
Is there anything in here we should know about?
Is anything in your car that...
Car, we had an alert.
No.
Did you leave the car like that or no?
No, it was closed.
Okay, I'm going to open it real quick, okay? Is that yours?
Anything in there? No?
No.
Okay. Do we want to take it out? Okay.
Okay, it's not yours.
You can stay there. You can stay there. Good.
It's heavy. You want me to open it?
Do you want to...
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Is this yours?
Thank you.
Just imagining something in that bag, but still, he had no idea. It was like a sigh of relief from him. He just started smiling and say, "Oh my gosh."
I was just happy that my car is in one piece. I didn't want to go through the insurance process when I heard that there's suspicious object in my car, so I'm like, well, it's probably not going to end well.
The Lightning is a big part of the Tampa Bay community, and I've work here at the arena. I see the team often. They come and do stuff with the Tampa Police Department. So sharing that opportunity with them and this experience was amazing.
As a professional goalie who plays in the NHL, it's one of your ultimate goals, for sure, to win that award. But it's all about the team, and you will never win this award without a good team in front of you. You know, that means a lot to me.
So there you go. I thought that was really, really well done. Clearly caught him by surprise. He wasn't expecting anything like that. And I thought one of the funny parts of this was all he was thinking about was having to deal with his insurance company if there was something wrong with this car. Feel like he's us, right? That's all of us. Like, I don't know, chipped windshield or a little fender bender. Like, that's the last thing you want to do is deal with your insurance company, right? Like, I get it. That made perfect sense. So congratulations to Vazzy. Well done by the organization and the Tampa Police Department and the good police puppy dog, without question. Comments, Danny Boy, hopefully the next trophy he holds soon is the Stanley Cup. Well, you got to think that they're at least headed in the right direction, right? Well, I'm sure JP and I will get into more of the necessary moves, roster changes, maybe some coaching staff changes. I don't mean John Cooper, obviously, just won the Jack Adams. Is there what's to be expected for this offseason? We'll get into that a little bit more as we get a little bit deeper in. I had to share that with you guys because I thought that was great. We are awaiting the arrival of one Jeff Tito Thitoff to talk fantasy football. Load up your fantasy football questions if you have any here. And we will discuss that with him again a little bit later in the show. Orestes Destrade will join us to talk Rays. Are they in crisis mode? You kind of got to think that they are after losing 2-3 to the Fish, to the Marlins. Are they still a contender, or is June just totally exposing them? I mean, you won, 22, or you went 22-4, I think. And then now you've dropped 10 of 13. So streaky to say the least. And there's no question about that. So let's take a quick break. We will come back hopefully on the other side with Jeff Tito Thitoff. So load up your fantasy football questions for Tito. We will discuss rookies, fantasy football expectations, maybe some sleeper picks for everybody. I'm sure he'll have some things to not draft coming up. Again, I haven't played in like 8 years. I still keep up with it because obviously I watch his show and I edit and produce their show. But we'll get into all of that. Today's show brought to you as always by our great sponsors for the JP Peterson Show, Pitch Roofing, Riveters. Make sure you're checking out Riveters for your pre- and post-game Rays. Italiano Insurance, a long time supporter of the JP Peterson Show. The Golden Diamond Source. Kingmakers, where our FanStream Sports Tampa Bay studio is located. Of course, Third Generation Plumbing, and my favorite Italian restaurant every time I come to Tampa Bay. I'll be there shortly, you guys, by the way, I promise. It's happening. Cafe Paradiso and our buddy Paolo Tini over there. I don't know how they're not number one every single month, but they come in the top 3, and that's good enough for me. More JP Peterson Show coming up right after this.
Pitch Roofing believes giving back is part of doing business the right way. That's why they proudly offer exclusive discounts to those who gave the most to our communities, including veterans, first responders, seniors, and teachers. And for listeners of the JP Peterson Show, there's even more good news. Pitch Roofing is now offering a special discount just for fans of the show. With so many roofing companies coming and going in Florida, it's important to choose a contractor you can count on long after the job is done, especially when it comes to honoring your warranty. Pitch Roofing is built for the long haul with a reputation for quality, transparency, and standing behind their work. Whether it's a repair or a full replacement, their team delivers honest guidance, quality workmanship, and no high-pressure sales. Call 727-67-PITCH, 727-677-4824, or visit pitchroofing.com to schedule a free estimate.
Pitch Roofing, roofing done right.
As the Rays enjoy being back in their Tropicana Field home this season that was ravaged by Hurricane Milton, Italiano Insurance wants to remind us all how important it is to be properly insured. 40% of you are underinsured. That can mean financial disaster. Let the experienced and friendly agents at Italiano shop your policies for the best price and the right coverage. Italiano saved me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year, over $500 on our homeowners insurance. They can do the same for you. That's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Cost less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with our all-star agents at Italiano Insurance, or call our Boca Grande office at 941-964-0400. Hey guys, you already know that Riveters is the best sports bar in all of Tampa Bay, but now it gets even better for Rays baseball season. During all Rays games, check this out, $6 Tito's, $6 Jack, $6 margaritas, all during Rays games. Are you kidding me? And that's always a great pour from the great bartenders at Riveters. Great service, great food, everything is fresh, nothing is frozen. And let me tell you, if you want baseball and wings, you will not find any better than Riveters. Their sauces, like the blue cheese and the ranch, and everything is handmade, and the wings are big, and they're perfect. Wings, baseball, Rays, Riveters. It all comes together during baseball season. Once again, in addition to all the great food and service, you get $6 Tito's, $6 Jacks, $6 margaritas. It's time to celebrate. Baseball season is back, and celebrate at Riveters. You know where it is, right there on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of the stadium. See you there at Riveters. Hey, the Golden Diamond Source wants to be your family jeweler, so don't wait any longer to find that one-of-a-kind perfect engagement ring for that special someone in your life. At the Golden Diamond Source, they can design anything you want personally. The Golden Diamond Source can help you trade in your old broken jewelry and use it towards a new purchase as well. And with gold prices at record high, now is the best time to do it. They only sell natural diamonds at the Golden Diamond Source, so if it's a real love, it should be a real natural diamond. Don't start your relationship with a fake diamond. Bad idea. And with the Golden Diamond Source first-time buyer program, you can learn all about the 4 C's in all the different shapes and styles. And they are able to show you a huge selection of inventory to choose from. And don't forget, 0% financing for up to 5 years. If you finance $5,000, it's only $83 a month. Make sure it's a Golden Diamond Source diamond, 3800 Almerton Road, always online at goldendiamond.com.
It's a love you give only at Golden Diamond Source.
Hey, JP here for Genesis of Tampa and the Murphy Auto Group. I think the best way to experience a business is to use that business. And I just did at Genesis of Tampa. Just bought a GV70, a 2023, and it feels and drives all new. It's an absolutely fantastic car. The technology, the comfort, and the price, absolutely outstanding. Frankly, I never thought I could get into a car like this, but they made me a deal I could not refuse. And I also get the VIP service where you can just drive right up, their pit stop service. They'll top off all the fluids, make sure your air in your tires is good, new wipers if you want them. If you need extended service, they will come to you, bring you a courtesy car, and then bring your car back. What more do you want? The experience was just VIP all the way. And you can get that at Genesis of Tampa. And don't forget, you can get extended warranty, which I did. So I have worry-free miles up to 100,000, and all they do is just take it in. Actually, I don't have to take it in. They come to me. It's perfect. It's Genesis of Tampa right there, 801 East Bears Avenue, right off of 275. Go see them and tell them JP sent you.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show right here on FanStream Sports. Welcome into a Monday. It's an IndyCarTim Takeover Part 2. Right here on the JP Peterson Show. We had a ton of fun on Monday or on Friday, and we're kind of all business today. we're kind of making up for it. Big O joining us a little bit later in the show to talk Rays, crisis alert, time to hit the panic button. Somehow they still lead the East. I have no idea what's happening in Major League Baseball right now, but my Rangers can't buy a win or a hit. I guess that's how it is. But right now, we are going to avert our attention to something that was near and dear to my heart for years and years and years and years and years, since I think 1988. But I had to step away about, 8 years ago or so, maybe 2017. I don't know how long ago that was. It seems like it was just a year ago. Because I just had too much time. I guess you could say I discovered girls, so I couldn't play fantasy football anymore because of girls. We're going to leave it at that. But we do have somebody that doesn't know anything about girls because he still plays fantasy football, and that is our one and only Tito Jeff Thitoff. Hello, Tito. How are you, man?
I'm great, man. How you doing? You said fantasy football. I've been prepping for football talk. I thought we were doing World Cup because I got a lot of notes on Argentina, but I guess we can pivot.
I don't know what that word is that you just said.
I understand. I got it.
How are things up in our Columbus, Ohio studio there?
Oh, things going great. Gerb just ran through here like a whirlwind like he always does, comes in, leaves a mess, and takes off again for me to clean up. But things going great. Memorial Tournament just wrapped up. Chad Rink and I did a Fantasy Football Island podcast that's going to be popping out there soon, I believe. Yep. I say that because Tim's got to do it. But anyway, so we have it out there in the book, so we started talking fantasy football. It's not even the middle of June yet, but still the great time to talk about fantasy football.
It is, and sort of what spawned this is I had a couple of people on our show Friday started throwing out fantasy football questions. I think a guy asked me, I don't remember who it was, my apologies, asked about CeeDee Lamb. Mm-hmm. Somebody else asked about Cam Scattaboo, I think. Before we get into necessarily specifics here, I've got a list of some people that I saw on a couple of so-called must-have fantasy football options for next year. This early in the year, what specifically are you guys looking for when you're trying to put together your team? Is it really too early to start thinking about stuff?
It's not too early if you're in a dynasty. I mean, a dynasty league, it's where that's almost a year-round thing. And so it's never too early with that. When you're talking about going to with redraft leagues and whatnot, it is early, but it is a good time to at least start getting some pieces in place. You're not cramming 3 days before your draft. And lots of things that we look at now. Obviously, a lot we talked about in our podcast was the post NFL draft updates, like where certain players were drafted, who we value, who walked into good situations. Obviously, some trades made on June 1st. Myles Garrett, which won't really impact fantasy that much unless you're in an IDP kind of league. But guys like the AJ Brown thing, what that would mean, things like that we look at. But it's too early. It's not too early to start looking at it. But if you're not drafting, God, I hope you're not drafting until the end of August. Don't draft in June. Don't draft in July. Wait until middle, end of August, even early part of September before you do your draft. But we are looking more at the new faces in new places, specifically the rookies, but also some of the guys that got moved around, signed as free agents.
Yeah. So speaking of the rookies, who there's some big names, obviously, as there is every year that come in, a bunch of first rounders, some guys on offense that might impress you coming out of college. Who are some of the names maybe that you're looking at potentially from the rookie class this year to have an effect on a fantasy football team?
Yeah, the big things are when you're looking at this is obviously know your format, because it's like I said, if you're in a dynasty format, then a guy like Jeremiah Love or a guy like Fernando Mendoza certainly have got a lot of value. But as far as in a redraft league, though, I mean, look, I'm not looking at Love will have a good year, but he's not somebody I'm targeting in a redraft league. Arizona, yes, he'll be the number one back there, but their offensive line is still not great. We don't know their quarterback situation. I know that Brissett's coming in there now. After he said he would sit out, he wants more money. He wants money he's not worth. If it's not him, Gardner Minshew's the quarterback, or Carson Beck, something like that, which you don't want to have. Quarterbacks, like I said, the same way with that. If Mendoza starts within the first 5 or 6 weeks of the regular season, it's because the Raiders are 0-5 or 0-6. And so if he starts at that point, that means it's a bad team. And so I don't want a rookie quarterback on a bad team. So if the Raiders have me 4-2, he's not going to start because they're going to keep rolling with Kirk Cousins. So I stay away from quarterbacks. As far as running backs go, you can get value on, like, I think Jadarian Price out in Seattle, because Kemba Walker, or Kenneth Walker, I'm sorry, or Kemba Walker, either one. But Kenneth Walker, though, going to Kansas City as a free agent. And what you'll see in a lot of these leagues is Kenneth Walker will he'll get overdrafted probably because people look, oh, he's Super Bowl MVP. He's going to the Chiefs. It won't matter as much. So getting back to the rookies, though, I do like Jadarian Price in Seattle, somebody I would probably try to target later in drafts. But it's all about wide receivers. Carnell Tate's a great one in Tennessee. You've got Lemon in Philadelphia, who now has a much bigger role because of the fact that A.J. Brown has been traded. I'm not a huge fan of the Cleveland wide receivers with, Concepcion and also Denzel Boston, simply because I look at their quarterback situation as well. And so, although they are very talented wide receivers, I feel much better about them if they were in a situation where they had a better quarterback throwing to them. Kenyon Sadiq, the Jets, he's tight end 1 among rookies, and that's somebody who has some value. I think it's really hard to pinpoint where to take the quarterbacks, running backs, and tight ends. Receivers, a much safer way to go when you're looking at rookies.
Speaking of wide receivers here, let's look at Emeka Egbuka here in Tampa. He was kind of a favorite rookie for a lot of teams last year, for a lot of guys running their teams, and he started off like gangbusters. I think he had 20-plus points in 3 of his first 5 games, but then kind of like the Tampa Bay offense, he fell off a cliff, and he had double digits just twice the rest of the season. Mike Evans is now in San Francisco doing his thing over there, right. And it looks like Egbuka could be one of Baker Mayfield's top options. Alongside Chris Godwin Jr. What do you expect from Egbuka this year? We know the quarterback situation. Baker's under contract at least for this year. We'll talk about it a little bit later in the show. We've got some contract information, by the way, for him. But what do you expect from Egbuka this year in Tampa Bay?
I don't think he's a wide receiver 1. I would not want him as my top wide receiver. I'd be great if it was wide receiver 2. I do like Egbuka quite a bit. I saw him here in Columbus, obviously, quite a bit. But it's Evans, I know they had receiver injuries last year with the Godwin thing and Evans, and so it was, Evans being old and Godwin being brittle. But I just think that Egbuka, I think he'll be a little bit less than he was last year, but that's not to say he's not a good wide receiver too. I'd love to have him as my number 2 wide receiver. I just don't know if number 1 is where I would draft. I think there's enough guys out there in front of him that I would take above him. I like Egbuka, but I think that, and this is another thing too, when you're looking at this, Tim, is that know who you're drafting with. If you're doing like a live draft or a draft with friends, people if you're in a room with Buccaneer fans, someone's going to overdraft Egbuka. Someone will overdraft Mayfield. Someone's going to overdraft, Buccaneer. Everyone's going to overdraft in that. Just like here in Columbus in the Ohio area, people will overdraft former Buckeyes or Browns or Bengals and whatnot. They will take them higher than they should probably go. So know that. But if I'm in like a draft with a bunch of people I don't know, and I do 100 drafts a year, that if I can get Egbuka as my second wide receiver, I would take it.
Let's shift over to running back now. And you mentioned former Buckeyes. Let's talk about Quinshon Judkins with the Browns. I know he's at the top of the list for a lot of guys that you need to have on your team for this year. Performed pretty admirably as a rookie. What are our expectations for him in year 2?
Okay, yeah, the injury thing is what got him. When he was healthy, he looked really good. And I like Judkins quite a bit. Judkins and Henderson, Travion Henderson, the other former Buckeye too as well to New England. But I like Judkins quite a bit. I think he's fine as your flex player. Depending on how heavy you go at wide receiver early, then he might be your running back 1. But he's more likely, I kind of put him around the same range that I have Egbuka. Like a running back 2, I'd be fine with him there. The Browns made some massive upgrades to their offensive line this year. As of right now, as we sit here, Browns fans are optimistic about where this team's going to go. Deshaun Watson now, they think they're getting the old Deshaun Watson. I think what they're getting, though, is the old Deshaun Watson, which could be much different than the old Deshaun Watson, if that makes sense. And until I see something like that, that shows me that Deshaun Watson will be a decent option at quarterback, because if Deshaun Watson does not do well, you got to rely on Shedeur Sanders, that whole Browns offense is going to go in the tank. So I would take Judkins as a running back 2 or as a flex play, but I really don't want him to be the first running back I draft.
Let's talk about quarterbacks now real quick. I'm seeing Jackson Dart high on the list of a lot of guys. I know he as a rookie, had a lot of success. I think he finished 13th by a lot of metrics as a rookie, more than 17 points a game in his 14 games. 12 of those were starts. Also running the ball. He's a real dual threat guy. He did a lot of his throwing last year without Malik Neighbors, without Cam Scattaboo to throw the ball to or hand it off to. What are your expectations for Jackson Dart, and is he a QB1 guy?
He is a QB1, but on the lower tier of it. Like, I think that he's a top 10 quarterback, but I don't put him in the top 5 or 6. So he's not one of the early ones off the board for me. And when it comes to quarterbacks, again, know your scoring system, because 4 points for a passing touchdown is a big difference than 6 points for a passing touchdown. And also, if you're in a super flex league, we can start a quarterback as a flex position. Dart has a lot more value there because you'll want to have 2 very competent starting quarterbacks in a super flex league. But Dart, I think, is on the lower end of that. I'd put him around 9 or 10 among my quarterbacks. And I'm not taking, there's no quarterback this, like, as in most years, there's not somebody that's worthy to be drafted in the first couple of rounds. Like, Josh Allen is going to be, in my opinion, the top fantasy quarterback option this year. And so he's going to go fairly high. He'll be the first quarterback off the board in most cases.
Wow.
But I look at something like with the Dallas Cowboys, for instance. I love the Cowboys offense this year. And if you gave me the option, if I could take, and I posed this to Chad Rink the other day, but if you could say you could have Dak, CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens, or I give you Burrow, Higgins, and Chase, I'm taking the Dallas side of that. So, like, I'm very high on this Dallas offense this year. You'll see me in most of the drafts I do. I will go heavy on Dallas players because of the weapons they have that are established. With Jackson Dart, who you asked me about, not established weapons there. And Jackson Dart, I know he rushed. He is a threat with his legs, but he needs to be a smarter threat. We saw what RG3 did. RG3 was fantastic when he first came out, but didn't learn how to slide and kept absorbing big hits, and it ended his career very early. Jackson Dart's kind of the same way. He's of the mindset that he can still, like, he can avoid tackles, or he can get hit and still be okay, and that's what led to the multiple concussions last year. And I talked to Justin Zwick, former Buckeye quarterback, today on my show in the morning, and I asked him, like, when you're in high school, you're one of the bigger athletes on the field, and you can afford to take on, like, a linebacker who's probably smaller than you, or a DB who's probably smaller as you, and maybe not as fast as you even. When you get to college, it's different. When you get to the pros, it's real different. Jackson Dart's not going against guys that are of comparable size and speed that he did maybe, in college, and certainly not in high school. He's got to learn how to operate like an NFL quarterback, which means, and Peyton Manning, not that Peyton Manning was ever fleet of foot, but Peyton Manning and Tom Brady both learned early on, it's not the worst thing in the world to fall down before you get hit. And I don't think Jackson Dart's learned that yet, but for Giants fans, they better hope he does learn it. And for fantasy football fans especially, you better hope Jackson Dart learns how to do that.
You think Jay Gruden and Robert Griffin III get together for the holidays and break bread and share a beer these days?
If they do, I would love to see a Christmas card. I'm sorry, I'm not holiday card. Anyway, with the two of them doing just that.
Oh, what a fiasco that was, man! Just
it was terrible. I mean,
the latest in the long line of Washington fiascos, right, under Daniel Snyder. Just good God, man!
Lots of mistakes there. Yes.
One of the questions that we had on the show Friday was about CeeDee Lamb, as I mentioned. Is CeeDee Lamb? I know you're high on the Cowboys offense. You just stated that. Is he a first round pick?
CeeDee Lamb, I believe, is a first round pick. Late first, though.
Okay.
And the thing is, like, if you've got one of the top 2 picks in the draft, and this is, again, standard scoring leagues, it's either Bijan Robinson, or we're going to look at, obviously out there in Detroit, that's the other option. Like, they're one with him and Gibbs. Robinson and Gibbs are 1A and 1B, and you can take either one of them. It'd be great. If I don't have one of the first 2 picks, though, I'm going wide receiver with probably my next 2 picks. And I would love to be at the turn, like the 8, 9, 10 picking around, and then come back with either 11, 12, or 13, depending on how big your league is, though. Because someone like that, yes, CeeDee Lamb is somebody I love quite a bit this year. You got the Jamar Chase thing. Chase will probably be the first wide receiver off the board. Puka Nakua will go up pretty high. JSN in Seattle. I'm on Ross St. Brown, Detroit. But CeeDee Lamb, I just think this Cowboys offense is going to be explosive. And I like the Cowboys offense. I like them the most right now. I will like them less if Pickens gets a long-term deal. And I say that because Pickens last year was playing for a contract. Now, granted, he did not get the contract as of now, but he was playing for a contract, which he wasn't doing in Pittsburgh for a couple years there. And you saw what the results were from that. He loafed a little bit. He was a bit of a malcontent near the end. That's why Pittsburgh had no problem getting rid of him like they do with any wide receiver that proves to be kind of a malcontent.
For
and he
a
was great last year in
pick.
Dallas. Yeah, I loved him, though. Like, I loved George Pickens, though, last year. Going in, I had a lot of stock in George Pickens in all the drafts I did, and also Javonte Williams. Like, that whole Cowboys offense thing I loved. And it's just it's a question of, I just hope he stays on this franchise tag. They don't give him a long-term deal. CeeDee Lamb is going to draw double coverage a lot of the time, but you can't double him all the time because of George Pickens on the other side there. And so it's a great 1-2 or 1-1 punch, which is another reason I love Dak Prescott, because I just think that Cowboys, and by the way, they played a dome, which I also love. Sometimes it gets overstated. I get it. But a Cowboys home game in December is a lot different than a game in Foxborough in December. And if you're at home on the dome with those, guys, Ryan, I should have marketed that. If you're at home in the dome, then things can go okay for you.
We can go market it in Cleveland for their new freaking domed stadium.
I'm done with these dome stadiums. I really am.
I am too.
And former NFL players get pissed when I say it because, honestly, Tim, it's because I'm selfish and petty. And I've often said, and that, God, it pisses Carpenter off. It pisses AJ Hawk. Not AJ Hawk's better about it, but the other guys like DeVere Posey, those guys I talk to, it's like, I want to be in my red recliner in December with a blanket over my lap, maybe the cat on my lap, and I do mean the cat, the animal, and sipping a hot chocolate, which is really something I mean like alcoholic, while watching NFL players struggle in wind and snow and seeing their breath out there. Because at that point, I feel like I'm finally doing something better than they am. They am.
Yeah.
Like they am speak that way. But they are. Like, they have got all the advantages of being big, strong, and fast and all of that. But hey, ha, 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 you're freezing your ass off. I'm at home watching you.
Well, because that's the football of our youth, right? Like, that's what we watched
in
the 70s and the 80s is all these, especially with the Steelers, all these December home playoff games on the carpet, by the way.
Yes.
In the snow and in the rain and the sleet. And that's just, even Texas Stadium, or the Cowboys' old stadium, they had the hole in the roof.
We saw Thanksgiving that one year, yeah.
Yeah, 1994 Thanksgiving Day game. It was sleet. It wasn't even snow. It was all sleet. I was there, and it hurt.
Were you really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was Thanksgiving. Of course I was there. But, I'm not a fan of the new dome stadiums. I'm out.
When I look at the schedule, every year when it comes out, Tim, one of the two things I look at first are the Thanksgiving games, and then I look at like the Christmas games or around that time, who's playing outdoors. And this year, we've got a beautiful schedule on Christmas Day because we've got Chicago hosting Green Bay Christmas Day. And I can't wait to hope there's snow and everything there. Denver hosting Buffalo, another good one. Rams in Seattle, not so much, but still it could be some inclement weather up there. It just won't be like it is in Chicago or Denver. But I love seeing these late season games like that when they're outdoors because it is fun for me to not be outdoors.
Yep. Well, there is your fantasy football preview with Tito, Jeff Thitoff of Fantasy Football Island. Check it out at fanstreamsports.com, as well as all of Tito's great stuff that he does for us over there. He does the Buckeyes Daily Blitz, the Black and Gold Steelers Daily Blitz, the Browns, the Columbus Blue Jackets, just pretty much everything over there in Columbus. So we appreciate you, Tito. Also, everybody got a little bit of old man days, good old days syndrome there with our youth football talk there. So I haven't checked with JP to see if it's in the budget, but I think we're talking about maybe doing a fantasy football segment at least once a week here during the football season to have you on and steer everybody in the right direction. Why don't you go ahead and tout your fantasy football thing that you got over there?
Yep, Baseball Island's where you can find it. It's Chad Rink and I. I've been doing this since 1980. Yes, I was in the third grade. Brian Sipe of the Cleveland Browns, my first pick. And many of you, I hope, don't know that because if you know that, you might be dead or in a rest home, which I'm, by the way, on the brink of. But, yeah, Brian Sipe, my first pick back in 1980 in the third grade. We did a weekly thing. And so I've been doing it ever since then, wasting time. As Tim Ham told you in the intro, not a lot about girls, but I am on marriage number 2, so at least two of them. At least two. I know. Hold my beer, right? At least two of them have liked me or I've impressed somehow. But, Facebook, we got that show and all the stuff that Tim mentioned. Follow me on Twitter at That Happens on the X over there. But other than Tim, I am probably the second biggest media whore with FanStream Sports.
I'm not going to apologize for that either.
You should.
At all. All right, Tito. Appreciate it, buddy. Have a great day.
Thanks, brother. Have a good day.
All right, there he goes. That is Tito. We are going to take another break, and on the other side, waiting in the green room, it is one Orestes Destrade. We are going to talk Rays. We're going to talk Skid. We're going to talk Panic Button. We're going to talk Marlins. And where is this thing headed? It's all coming up next on the JP Peterson Show. I'm IndyCarTim. Back after this.
Well, the folks at Third Generation Plumbing and AC want to say thanks for making them so dadgum busy. Of course, advertising on your favorite Tampa Bay sports talk show helps, but it's their incredible customer service, honesty, and integrity that have earned them tons of 5-star reviews. And now you could be part of the team at Third Generation. Yes, they are so slammed, they need to hire more certified AC technicians and plumbers. It's a great family business to work for. My buddy John Rodriguez runs an old school family business since 1995. They pay well, give you all the holidays off, and they offer great benefits. No cold corporate atmosphere here. You're part of the family. If this sounds cool to you, call them and apply at 813-961-8024, or you can email your resume in at thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Just go to the website, you'll see the button, email them, or call them at 813-961-8024. And don't forget about the $169 yearly maintenance special. It's a no-brainer, guys. thirdgenerationplumbing.com, and they also do AC.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted #3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Sports fans, it's time to gear up. Head to fanstreamsports.com and check out our brand new merchandise store. We're talking bold t-shirts, 3/4 zips, hoodies, hats, mugs, and more. Everything you need to rep your favorite shows and your favorite crew. Whether you're rolling with the JP Peterson Show in Tampa Bay, From the Rough in Dallas, the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall, or the Jeff Thitoff Show in Ohio, or any of our FanStream Sports original programming, we've got the perfect look for game day and every day. So don't wait. fanstreamsports.com. Click merch and grab your gear now. Wear the stream, live the stream, fanstreamsports.com.
Welcome to Kingmakers, home of the JP Peterson Show studio and Tampa's premier business networking and social club for members only. By day, it's an exclusive, vibrant co-working space with a stylish conference room, focus rooms, a full production studio, and an in-house marketing team. And by night, Kingmakers transforms into a sports-centric social hub with a full sports bar, golf simulator, and exclusive events. For young entrepreneurs and seasoned professionals, it's the perfect place to work hard, play hard, and make big moves in Midtown Tampa. Close the deal, celebrate the win. Only at Kingmakers. Become a member today at kingmakerstampa.com. Your business, your club. Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show right here on FanStream Sports. It's the IndyCarTim Takeover Part 2. on a Monday while JP returns from wherever it was he was on a boat. Why people go on a boat in the middle of the ocean is beyond me. My brain cannot grasp that concept. I am out. I have seen Titanic way too many times to know how all of those stories end. And don't tell me there are not icebergs in the Caribbean. I will never believe that. There are icebergs. They are everywhere. They are out to get us. But allegedly, JP survived. Let's bring in our favorite ex-MLBer. How you doing, Big O? Orestes Destrade.
I've always liked men, but suddenly...
Whoops, that was the wrong button. How are you, Big O? Oh, hello. Can you hear us? You got me? Oh, he can't hear me. Let's try it again. How about now? You got me, Big O? No, doesn't have me. Let me text Big O and see if he can pop out and pop back in again. God, after that great build-up, too. There he goes. So, yeah, we're going to talk with Big O here in just a minute about some Rays as they drop the series to the Marlins. Producing on the air. This is almost as fun as it was on Monday or on Friday. But yeah, it was we discussed over the weekend back and forth a little bit with our there he is, Big O. You have us?
All right, we're good now. We're good now.
There he is.
I could see you talking and saying all wonderful things about me, but I couldn't hear you. So I don't know if you could hear me. But
yeah, I could hear you. It was that's all right. We got you back now. Sometimes
it's all good.
Yeah, sometimes StreamYard glitches, and we got to have them pop out and pop back in, which is exactly what you did. And
like I've said many times in my life, it's not you, it's me. It's not you. It's me.
I usually go the opposite direction. It's not me, it's you.
That's cruel, dude. That's cruel on the girl. You're gonna say it's not me, it's you. That's why I'm leaving.
Everyone knows I'm flawless, man. If there's something wrong with the relationship, it is certainly not on me. I know everything about marriage. I've been married 3 times.
I will tell you that the it's not you, it's me does not work, right? I mean, really, you guys, when you drop that and you're the one that's leaving, you go, it's not you, it's me. They know that it's them. It's invariable.
Yeah, they have to know. Big O,
Speaking of the Rays, it's not you, it's them.
Good Lord, what is happening over there at the Trop? Hey, look, and before we get into Rays, I had something else for you here.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of Manny Machado?
I am a fan of Manny Machado's game overall, which has been up till I can't remember his stats last year. I don't think they were overly Hall of Fame, but so I guess up to the last couple of years or so, definitely this year, not so much. Manny's a good guy. He's a Miami boy, and supports a lot of stuff in Miami, and a generally good human being, good guy.
Sure.
This play on the field has been lacking dramatically. I think he's in the below 180 or somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm. I believe you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so I don't know. Is there any other issues coming up recently?
No. So he made some comments over the weekend that I thought were a little bit eye-opening from a fan/media perspective, because we and you probably have a similar perspective as him, and that's why I wanted to ask you about it. Because as a fan, especially growing up baseball, man, I eat and breathe stats. That's all I freaking do. Before the internet, my first move every single morning was go get the newspaper and read box scores. I would analyze box scores from the previous days and evenings games, because I couldn't watch them on TV if they were out of market and things like that. So I just breathed and ate stats. Manny Machado has an interesting take on stats as he was addressing the media yesterday. And let me play this for you real quick.
All right.
I think there's too many stats out there. Too many stats. Way too many numbers. I don't even know half of the stuff that goes up there. I look at the board sometimes and I'm like, man, I even ask some of the guys, like, what is WCCVBB, whatever it is? Like,
Like, what are these names that are being created? You know, I mean, it's just crazy to even keep up with.
Weighted expected on base percentage?
Is it? Is that what it is? Yeah, what is that?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. I mean, the pitching stuff, like FIP or something like that, I think, right?
Fielding independent pitching.
Yeah, like, what is that?
That's taking out the defense to say this guy.
All right, so why would you have that stat?
To
Isn't baseball
show how much of a stud a guy really is.
Yeah, but it takes a team to win a ball game, not just one person.
Yeah,
one person could be that guy, right? So one person could carry a team, but this is a team sport. You don't win a championship by just one player. It takes a whole goddamn village to do it. So why are we creating these stats for? You know, I think that's the problem with baseball right now.
So there's his thoughts. Too many stats, Big O, and I'm not disagreeing with him, but as a former player, how much did you pay attention? And we clearly have way more stats and analytics now than we did when you played. But how much did you pay attention to that stuff back in the day?
That's this is a very interesting and very kind of cross-cultural topic that he's bringing up, because when I'm saying crossing cultures, I mean the culture of the 70s, 80s, 90s was one that you basically, the key stats were the main stats, your ERA, obviously W's and L's. I mean, that's really was the driving force. It's like, did you win or lose, right? But then certain stats like, the basics, how many home runs are you hitting? And again, chicks the long ball. It's actually not the biggest, most important stat, but key. It's really more RBIs, batting average. What's your ERA? Then little things started creeping in. Holds became, I remember when holds came in, and I'm like, what the hell is holds? And I go, well, that makes sense. If a guy comes in, and this is in the, late 80s and 90s, they started, watching holds and, all these weird stats. Now, the problem is, number one, as a ball player, screw it. Don't worry about it. Just play your game and know that you're not playing to certain, microcosm stats, those little, minutia ones. Yeah. You're playing to the bigger level of what's important. And the execs, and even though you have a bunch of statty stats, as we call them, are always relaying back to the higher exec, to the GM and the assistant GM and the manager. They kind of know who a good player is and what the key core fundamental needs are. And you know what those key core fundamental needs are? Usually surround around some sort of reference of power pitching, power hitting, power running. That's the key core. Now, there are some elements of how quick do you think in a situation and stuff like that, but that's, then you got to use your gut on that, and you got to feel for the player as you see them play a bunch of games, not just a week's worth or 2 weeks worth of games. So that's my thought on that. I think he makes a valid point. His stats aren't good. It's kind of weird because his stats aren't very good right now. So he knows he's looking at 3 stats right now every time he comes up that are glaring, that have always been up on the board in the major league level since the 60s. Batting average, home runs, RBIs. Those are always up. Yeah. And those are the ones he needs to be concerned about. Those are the ones that aren't really looking good. Don't worry about all the other complicated acronyms.
Manny Machado right now batting 169 with 11 home runs, 32 RBIs with an OPS of 596.
I'm changing the subject about the metrics and the analytics and the stats to production. I'm befuddled. I rarely use the word befuddled on air, but I am, without cursing, I'm going to say befuddled. I don't get it, because this guy is too good of a hitter, too experienced of a hitter, too still young enough and physically sound of a hitter to drop that dramatically. Okay, so when you drop that dramatically, then you have to go into the mind, and you have to go into, you can't help it. He's making $30 million a year. You have to scrutinize that. And to go, okay, not just 30 million, but he's got like 7 more years.
Of
at
what, an
30 million.
11-year deal or something? It was ridiculous.
Yeah, he got re-anteed up. So he had signed a big deal. Halfway through it, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he had an opt-out. So they re-anteed up for another 300 or something. You know, they took away, all they did was add to the remaining.
Yeah.
They just doubled the remaining. So now you're looking at 200 and I believe 200 million over 7 more years, roughly a little under 30 million a year for a guy that seemingly has lost touch to how to hit a baseball.
Yeah.
How can that happen? You know, it just, the only thing I can think of is there's something internally going on. By internally, I mean like outside the lines that's going on, because that happens. I lived that myself, right? Where if you're going through a divorce or you're going through problems at home, that's going to lead to that. That tends to be number one that people don't realize that crushes any athlete, but a baseball player especially, because of why, Timmy? How many games you play. You don't have that, like even in football, and you're going through a tumultuous, relationship with your significant other, you have those couple of days in between there, the Tuesday that's off, to address that and to go, either fight through it or talk about it or go to count. Baseball, you have no time, bro. Yeah. You're waiting for the off season and to go, all right, let's deal with this. We're going to stay together. We're not. And that, there's a lot of divorce in all professional sports, like there is in policemen and in doctors, and that's because they're demanding professions and it's difficult.
Yeah, it is for sure. And the Padres are struggling. They're just 2 games over 500 right now, 33-31, and they're, I think, 8 games back of the Dodgers right now. So their season
still hanging in there. They're still hanging in there. They're a tough team. And by the way, I don't want to allude to that he's having problems there. I'm just saying that a lot of times that becomes an issue, whether there's an illness in your family. I've known players that have lost their way because somebody, or father or mother, we don't know what's going on. It just does not make sense. The only other one that comes in, and I do want to bring this up because it pertains, is apathy. And that would be tricky, right?
Yeah.
That you become, not, and apathy is a harsh word, but you just aren't fighting as hard as you used to, right? Because you're making 30 million and you just added a second contract to that, and then all of a sudden, you're sitting back and you think you're doing all the motions that are needed to be done, but you may not be. You know what I mean? Yeah. That trigger to how to exactly read a slider, how to react to a sinker, how to do this, how to do that, just isn't as sharp as it was. And so then you look at, again, man. You look at physicality and is he physically fit? Is he okay? Because it's different when you see a guy that's 35 to 40, then that his trajectory goes down because of just the quick twitch muscles are gone. I don't see that with Manny, but it's an interesting case because you have several guys like Fernando Tatis. Where's his power gone? What the hell happened there? And he's hitting in the 220s, 230s. Bo Bichette, what happened there? You know what I mean? You can look at Kyle Tucker, who's having a very pedestrian, type of a year. What happened there? There's a handful of guys that are in that $30+ million range that you start wondering, what's going on here?
Yeah, let's turn our focus now to the Rays weekend series. You and I talked on Friday with high hopes of a series win, if not a sweep. I don't think you mentioned the word sweep, but I had hopes. And Friday looked really good with a 6-0 win. Rasmussen looked sharp. Then comes Saturday and Sunday, a 4-3 loss on Saturday, a 4-1 loss yesterday. What the heck is happening right now?
Yeah, going over the series, because, again, we just had an abysmal series against the Tigers. The Rays did, where they just got hammered completely. The offense really didn't show up, but really it was more the pitching, starting and relieving, giving up 10 home runs and, just getting shellacked. Okay, you put that one away. Wow, the Tigers had their hitting shoes on. They didn't through the month of May. And, the baseball gods, responded to them, and the Rays were doing too good, and they slapped the baseball gods slapped the Rays. Okay, move on. Let's get back to ball. What do? They get back to ball. Friday was a perfect Rays win. Great pitching, good solid defense, some timely hitting, Yandy's on fire, et cetera, and you get a nice win. So you're thinking, okay, we should definitely be looking at 2 out of 3 here. We get the tough one is going to be Jax versus Sandy Alcantara. And sure enough, it was tough, but you missed out on game 2, where all of a sudden, remember what I was talking about, that you got to have those 2 hammers be consistent. McClanahan wasn't consistent. He had a couple of good innings, but then he got in trouble with his location. The relief corps has been wanting for the Rays now for a couple of weeks. Mainly that middle relief, that when you take over in the 6th, 7th, and 8th has been really wanting. Brian Baker has been an all-star, but you're just not getting to him with the lead for the last couple of weeks. So they struggled in that game. Then the interesting thing about yesterday's game, it just almost looked like Sandy Alcantara was almost saying like, hey, Rays, don't forget about me in the July trade deadline. Let me show you what I got, because he was a whip, bro. Throwing 98, 97, 99 with a 2-seamer that was reminiscent of like a Maddox on lefties that would start at your hip and kind of tail back in over the inner third. Just a mastery with a fastball in different ways he can do with a 2-seamer and a 4-seamer. So Sandy was great. Listen, Jax was fine. He was totally fine. You're talking about a game where that guy threw 5 innings of 3-hit ball. He loses it every now and then. His focus goes away, but he's got electric stuff. And, he had the couple of walks, but 4 Ks, 3 hits, no runs. He handed it off. Clevenger, very tricky lately with Clevenger with he's kind of, dare I say, going into that Biggie level where power arm, but has trouble consistently throwing strikes. So, a key walk leads to a couple of runs, definitely on the error. That was a wild one, man. Where Walls, makes a throw that was a little bit to the hand side of Fiducia. Fiducia, really good catcher. By that I mean, like, he blocks well, he receives well. They're having trouble throwing out guys, but I'll be honest, that's not all on the catchers. That's usually a lot of times on the pitchers, because the Rays pitchers are notoriously not good at holding runners, and teams know that, so they get good jumps. But, man, he should have caught that ball. He catches that ball, and all of a sudden he's out at home. Not only you get the lead guy out at home, Marcy doesn't score on what ends up being, a ball that gets by Fiducia, and Marcy heads up base running. I just thought the Marlins, out-foxed the Fox. You know what I mean?
They outraised the Rays.
They outraised the Rays. Two plays that were really interesting. One was that the Cedric Mullen hits, Owen, your boy from Canada, Owen Casey.
Yeah.
Is it Casey or Cassie? I can't remember how they pronounce it.
Casey, but,
Casey. Hits a drive to left center. And I tell you, Mullins makes a hell of a play on that one, right up against, running and almost, banging into the wall. And then just a few innings later, Mullins hits one, and Casey steals what looked to be possibly a home run, maybe might have hit the top of the wall. So each outfielder kind of took one away from the other. So I thought that was kind of, justifiable baseball gods working there.
Back to Jax real quick. Yesterday, he and I know JP, and I think you have made this point too. He just doesn't perform well in long outings. He matched the season high with 5 innings, and he performed well in those 5 innings. Is that just really all the Rays are going to get from him? It's not a quality start by definition, but for him it is.
No, for him and for me, it's a quality start in a sense. I have different levels of quality starts. Like, for example, I have a super quality, which is, 7 innings, less than 2 runs, 2 or less runs. I think that's really the gauge for him right now. Because remember, he just came out of being a reliever, out of the season starting, spring training, WBC, early in the season, reliever last year, has spot started over his career, but he hasn't been stretched out completely properly. So this is, you kind of go like that. You're gonna stretch him out. Now the next time out, I could see him, peaking into the 6th inning, and getting to a point that by mid to end of the season, you could let him go for 7. Now, that being said, we've talked about the fact that he does get in a little bit of trouble when he gets in pinch situations and he loses his focus. As far as having the stuff, bro, he's got electric stuff. He's not. Yeah. He was matching Sandy, fastball for fastball, and slider and sinker for sinker. So he definitely has the stuff. Who would I rather have in the rotation regularly? I'd rather have Sandy Alcantara. I'll tell you that much.
So does it normally take a guy, if a team plans on stretching out a reliever as a starter to start the season, does it normally take till June, July to get him into 6, 7 innings? Or I guess it just depends on the guy.
It depends on the guy, but yes, it normally kind of does, because it's just a matter of physicality of your body not, doing that regularly. So once you remember, it's the up and down. Yeah. You throw 17 pitches, you go and sit down. Now you got to get back up and go. And a middle reliever is used to doing that at most for 3 innings. Normally for 2 1/3, 2 2/3, 2 innings, 1 2/3. So there's 1 up and down, maybe 2 up and downs, and that's about it. But when you're a pitcher, you're doing 5, 6. Now you're going to the 7th inning. It's a different rhythm, and baseball is very, very much about the physical rhythm of your bodies and what it gets attuned to at that high of a level. Because remember, the other people are so damn good that they're gonna they're gonna mess with your rhythm. So if you're not in tune in the 6th inning and you haven't been stretched out both physically as far as your arm strength, but also the rhythm of being in that situation and your breathing and the whole thing, you miss. You miss by a ½ inch on a sinker.
Right.
And boom, it's a walk-off home run for Aaron Judge, which basically was what he hit in the walk-off in New York. It literally was a ½ inch off for Kevin Kelly's sinker, that just should have dipped a little bit more, and Judge probably would have maybe hit it at the, ground ball to short, but it was up a tick, a half a ball, maybe 2 inches, and then it's gone. So that's the beauty of how perfect and how good Major League Baseball players are.
Tonight, 6:40 p.m. at the Trop, it is Connolly Early versus Ian Seymour, a couple of left-handers. Early is a 5-3, 3.26 ERA with 63 strikeouts. Right now, Seymour 3-0, 5.23 ERA, 33 strikeouts. It's a 3-game series at the Trop before the Rays head out west to face the Angels for 3, the Dodgers for 3. How important is it for these guys to sort of get off the schneid against Boston and the Angels, and maybe take advantage of this time that the Yankees don't have Judge?
100% take advantage of the Yankees not having Judge, even though they ended up winning yesterday and catching up a game there. In fact, they're only behind by percentage points because they have an extra loss,
right?
But they do have an extra win. So listen, it's not panic time by any stretch of the imagination. Both the Yankees and the Rays have set themselves with a lot of early season wins to be 12 games above 500, respectfully both. So you're talking about teams that not only are good, but have built a little bit of a cushion. Okay, what you need to do is take on Boston like they're the first place Boston Red Sox, not the last place Boston Red Sox. Right. Remind yourself, and it's interesting, but remind yourself that's harder to do with the Detroits and with the Miamis.
Yeah.
Marlins. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the way I look at a season, and is you have to. It's so long, and you're gonna go, Timmy, through swells of greatness where you're hitting, your defense, and your pitching are on point. We've seen that already from the Rays, right? You're going to go through swells where you hope only one of the things is off. And then right now, the Rays are on a swell where two things are off, 2.5. They made a few defensive, mistakes in the last couple of days. Not so much errors, but, like the play in between and Otto Velez's triple. Mullins didn't round the right fielder well enough. He went straight after the ball. So when the right fielder missed it, Mullins should have been backing up. Now you hold him to a double. You know what I mean? Those little things, have been hurting them. But really, it's been the timing of hitting and pitching, especially more so relief pitching, not clicking. That being said, Boston Red Sox are one of your rivals forever. Right? Especially since 2008, when you spanked them and beat them to go to the World Series. And it's like that, that started the we hate you for the Red Sox towards the Rays, more so than the Rays towards the Red Sox. But you take that on, you take that almost DNA of the Rays bloodline. And I say bloodline, it's fitting because this week, in fact, I want to say, is it I want to say it's the 11th. I want to say it's Boston, or maybe let me look at what's the schedule like, but I believe it's the 11th. June
10th, 11th, and 12th is Seattle at home.
No, I'm looking at it wrong. No, that's not correct. No, June 10th, 11th, and 12th. They're in Boston. Day off.
Well, I was looking at July. Sorry. Yeah, you're right.
July. No, I believe this week is Evan Longoria's week. When I was talking about DNA, it's Longoria's they're retiring his number.
Oh.
I believe it's Wednesday. I wouldn't think they would have done that for a weekend, but I could be wrong. Maybe if you can look that up real quick, because I'm not in front of computer. But that, you talk about DNA, you talk about that, 2011 when he hit Longo hits that, famous home run for the 162 game that basically beat the Yankees, but really ousted Boston for the wild card because they were losing at the same time to Baltimore. So you need to take that into this series. And believe it or not, I believe, a lot of that. I believe that you need, when you're going bad, you have to psych yourself out. Okay, Boston, man, they're our rivals. Let's play up to par. Let's not play down. And then all of a sudden, you get yourself out of a little short hiccup that you're going through. So then you go into LA and you go and take care of business against the Angels. And then you tick back up again against what is, arguably one of the best 4 teams in the world, which is the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah.
So take advantage of Boston.
It looks like Longoria will be inducted into the Rays Hall of Fame on July 11th. That is Saturday.
July 11th. Okay.
That is the series against the Mariners. And then the next day, Sunday the 12th, he will have his jersey retired in a Longo's Legacy Weekend at Tropicana Field.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, they're gonna have I forget who is the rock band that the walk-up song. They're actually gonna have him live there for when he comes out. I forget what his walk-up song was.
Down and Out was the song.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who sang it.
I don't know. Yeah, typical of Longo, kind of a little bit alternative. And yeah, but he's I'll tell you what, that is the heart and soul of the Tampa Bay Rays when you talk about DNA, and we'll spend some time on that. I don't know why I thought it was coming up in June, but it's in July.
It's July. Tantric is the name of the band, by the way, that sings this
Tantric.
song.
Yeah. So, that's and it's he was the epitome, especially 2008 as a rookie.
Yeah.
And then through all of the success that they have, obviously he was already gone when they went and got into the playoffs in 2020, but so much of that DNA that is been imparted and still felt when you put on a Rays uniform comes from Evan Longoria, probably more than anybody. I would say him and Crawford, Zobrist, Price, Shields. Those are my my Avengers, if you will, of the Rays tenure, along with Madden and now Cash, leading the way. But there's something to be said, like, Yankee fans and Yankee players, and I just for a short period of time got to wear it, but I was such a fan and spent a good amount of years in their farm team. And then even when I went to Tokyo to the Seibu Lions, and that was a storied franchise when I put on that shirt. You put on those jerseys, and if you have a passion for the game and a heart and dedication, you literally feel it. You should feel it when you put it on, and there's a respect factor. So I'm hoping that's going to show up in this series against Boston, because they need something, dude. They need something because they're in a real funk. They're not. Here's a weird stat: they stole 32 bags in April. I think 20 bags in May. They have one stolen base. I know it's only been a week or so in June, but all of a sudden they're not running. They're getting thrown out. They're trying to run. They're getting thrown out like 4 or 5 times already. Yeah. So things aren't clicking right now for the Rays, and it's something that you need to, to take advantage of this rivalry and maybe use that to forge you ahead.
And it's interesting as we wrap things up here. I know you'll have a lot to talk about on the Big O show tomorrow, and when you come on with JP and me tomorrow again before the show. The whole AL East right now sort of in a bit of a slump. I mean, you've got the Red Sox that are 9 games under 500, 5-5 in their last 10. The Orioles are 4 games under 500, 5-5 in their last 10. The Blue Jays, 2 games under 500, 5-5 in their last 10. Yankees are just 6-4 in their last 10. The Rays, of course, 3-7. So, man, the Rays are missing a huge opportunity right now to gain some ground on everybody, and they just can't put it together.
It's interesting you say and put it that way. And we're Tampa Bay Fan Stream Sports, the home of all things Bolts, Bucs, Rays, and college football of all the state of Florida. But the reality is, it's Toronto, Baltimore, and Boston that are sitting there going, what the F? We could have taken advantage of sneaking back in, because look how shitty the Rays are playing, worse than we are for the last couple of weeks, and we ended up, going mediocre. Basically, they're 5-5. So the Rays should be counting their blessings that 2 things happened. Number one, the other 3 major teams pretty much shit the bed while they were shitting their bed.
Yep.
And Aaron Judge got hurt. Those 2 things since the beginning of June could end up being a saving grace, because if those 3 teams keep on playing shitty, that keeps them at the top. Because remember, you want to finish winning the division. You want to make the playoffs, right? Wild card, seeking.
Yeah.
But if you can win that division, man, that just gives you that extra home field advantage scenario. Dare I say a bye maybe. And you're sitting pretty. So it's going to be a fight, because Toronto, Baltimore, and Boston have to respond. They have to throw a punch at some time in the season, don't they?
Yeah, you would think. And while
Toronto's a good team, bro.
They're supposed to be, but we haven't seen it this year.
We have not.
They lost some pieces too, man.
They lost pieces to injuries. There's no doubt. No, they lost pieces. Yeah, like I think Bo Bichette was so happy in Toronto. That was like a perfect big
loss.
Big city, but it's not New York. You know what I mean? You've been to both cities.
Oh yeah.
Toronto is different than New York, even though it's a big city. And I think he's gone to New York, and it's like, I don't know if I'm liking this fucking pudding. You know what I mean? I don't know if it tastes well. And some guys do not do well in New York. They just don't get the feel for the New York fans and the image and the whole thing. While Toronto was a very positive thing for him, has been since he got drafted by them. And that's a big piece that they're missing. Okamoto's doing a nice solid job, by the way.
Yeah.
But it's, and then you've got a couple of pitchers that are out. because I was calling for the Toronto to possibly run away with the East.
Nobody wants to run away with the East right now, apparently.
Nobody, dude.
Because it's a big week for the Rays. Again, Boston kicks off tonight, and then the Angels. Meanwhile, the Yankees are in Cleveland for a 3-game set, and then they're off to Toronto for a 3-game set. So this time next week, we'll see where things are with the AL East, and if anybody has decided that we want this thing, and we'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
Well, but also you're going to start creeping ever so closely to the real thoughts. It's a little still early for the trade deadline, decisions, but you see rumblings and things like that. But it's interesting because all 5 of those teams are going to be active, I feel, during the trade deadline. Whether it's Boston unloading, maybe they're still sucking by July, or Boston reloading. But the Yankees themselves, depending how quickly Aaron Judge responds to this stress fracture, maybe they go, and how Spencer Jones does. Remember, Spencer Jones now has to fill in the huge shoes of that right fielder. Maybe they go out and try to pick up a power bat. Not like they haven't done that in the past. In the middle of the season. So it's going to be very interesting. And then I'll end with what I started with. I hope Sandy Alcantara was, trying to show his wares to the Tampa Bay Rays and go, guys, I know you guys are going deep in the playoffs. I'm not sure if we're going deep in the playoffs, that being the Marlins. This is what I got. Trade for me. Let's go to the World Series.
That's what they want to do. And hey, on a side note, if you want something to look forward to for next week's Tuesday night game, ESPN game, by the way. Nice. I know it's a late start for Rays fans locally. Rasmussen versus Ohtani is what we've got on the docket so far.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that one. Is that Tuesday night you said, or Monday night?
Tuesday night the 16th
Tuesday
in
night,
LA.
Tuesday
Yeah,
night.
Rasmussen versus Ohtani is an ESPN game.
That's a great game of 2 master pitchers. Yeah, phenomenal. Oh,
Looking
man.
forward to that. All right, Big O, we'll see you tomorrow right here.
Buddy. Doing
Appreciate
a great
you.
job. I love it. And you are the ham and eggs of podcasting.
Oh, man, I appreciate you very, very much. Those are kind words. I couldn't do it without you.
Talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, later. There he goes, Orestes Destrade. He will be back tomorrow to sit in with JP and I and talk about the Rays and the Red Sox game from today. And then, of course, you'll have your normal Tuesday Orestes Destrade, the Big O Show, right here, a regular feature on FanStream Sports Tampa Bay. We're going to take another break. Coming up on the other side, as John Hill points out, there's actually a couple of local teams that deserve some props. We'll get into that. A huge ruling just broke not too long ago for the NCAA and a Big 12 team. They might have their quarterback. They might have their quarterback after all. A shocking development to me, as well as Baker Mayfield contract talk. It's all coming up. I'm IndyCarTim right here on FanStream Sports and the JP Peterson Show. Back after this.
JP here for Genesis of Tampa and the Murphy Auto Group. I think the best way to experience a business is to use that business. And I just did at Genesis of Tampa. Just bought a GV70, a 2023, and it feels and drives all new. It's an absolutely fantastic car. The technology, the comfort, and the price, absolutely outstanding. Frankly, I never thought I could get into a car like this, but they made me a deal I could not refuse. And I also get the VIP service where you can just drive right up, their pit stop service. They'll top off all the fluids, make sure your air in your tires is good, new wipers if you want them. If you need extended service, they will come to you, bring you a courtesy car, and then bring your car back. What more do you want? The experience was just VIP all the way. And you can get that at Genesis of Tampa. And don't forget, you can get extended warranty, which I did. So I have worry-free miles up to 100,000. And all they do is just take it in. Actually, I don't have to take it in. They come to me. It's perfect. It's Genesis of Tampa right there, 801 East Bears Avenue, right off of 275. Go see them and tell them JP sent you. As the Rays enjoy being back in their Tropicana Field home this season that was ravaged by Hurricane Milton, Italiano Insurance wants to remind us all how important it is to be properly insured. 40% of you are underinsured. That can mean financial disaster. Let the experienced and friendly agents at Italiano shop your policies for the best price and the right coverage. Italiano saved me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year, over $500 on our homeowners insurance. They can do the same for you. That's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Cost less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with our all-star agents at Italiano Insurance, or call our Boca Grande office at 941-964-0400. Hey, the Golden Diamond Source wants to be your family jeweler, so don't wait any longer to find that one-of-a-kind perfect engagement ring for that special someone in your life. At the Golden Diamond Source, they can design anything you want personally. The Golden Diamond Source can help you trade in your old broken jewelry and use it towards a new purchase as well. And with gold prices at record high, now is the best time to do it. They only sell natural diamonds at the Golden Diamond Source, so if it's a real love, it should be a real natural diamond. Don't start your relationship with a fake diamond. Bad idea. And with the Golden Diamond Source first-time buyer program, you can learn all about the 4 C's in all the different shapes and styles. And they are able to show you a huge selection of inventory to choose from. And don't forget, 0% financing for up to 5 years. If you finance $5,000, it's only $83 a month. Make sure it's a Golden Diamond Source diamond, 3800 Almerton Road, always online at goldendiamond.com.
It's a love you give only at Golden Diamond Source.
Hey guys, you already know that Riveters is the best sports bar in all of Tampa Bay, but now it gets even better for Rays baseball season. During all Rays games, check this out, $6 Titos, $6 Jack, $6 margaritas, all during Rays games. Are you kidding me? And that's always a great pour from the great bartenders at Riveters. Great service, great food, everything is fresh, nothing is frozen. And let me tell you, if you want baseball and wings, you will not find any better than Riveters. Their sauces, like the blue cheese and the ranch and everything, is handmade, and the wings are big and they're perfect. Wings, baseball, Rays, Riveters. It all comes together during baseball season. Once again, in addition to all the great food and service, you get $6 Titos, $6 Jacks, $6 margaritas. It's time to celebrate. Baseball season is back, and celebrate at Riveters. You know where it is, right there on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of the stadium. See you there at Riveters. Pitch Roofing believes giving back is part of doing business the right way. That's why they proudly offer exclusive discounts to those who gave the most to our communities, including veterans, first responders, seniors, and teachers. And for listeners of the JP Peterson Show, there's even more good news. Pitch Roofing is now offering a special discount just for fans of the show. With so many roofing companies coming and going in Florida, it's important to choose a contractor you can count on long after the job is done, especially when it comes to honoring your warranty. Pitch Roofing is built for the long haul with a reputation for quality, transparency, and standing behind their work. Whether it's a repair or a full replacement, their team delivers honest guidance, quality workmanship, and no high-pressure sales. Call 727-67-PITCH, 727-677-4824, or visit pitchroofing.com to schedule a free estimate.
Pitch Roofing, roofing done right.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show right here on FanStream Sports. I'm IndyCarTim. It is a Monday IndyCarTim takeover. JP returns tomorrow from his Titanic cruise. Somehow they have avoided the iceberg in the Caribbean. I don't even know where he was. He might not even have been in the Caribbean. He could have been in Alaska for all I know. Where do boats go? Why do people take cruises? I will never, ever understand why people put themselves on a tiny boat. And I know they hold like 1,500 people, whatever, more. But compared to the ocean, it is a tiny boat. And you put yourself on there knowing about pirates and icebergs and nuclear warfare. I don't know. I just could not pay me enough money to get on a freaking cruise ship. It's not happening. It's about like asking me to leave America to go anywhere other than Canada. Probably not going to happen either. I've never once had a passport in my life, and I probably won't ever. Except I think I need one now to get into Canada after 9/11. I haven't been back since. You used to be able to just drive across the border. You didn't have to have a passport. I think they changed that. That's neither here nor there, boys and girls. John Hill brought out a comment here that bears recognition. University of Tampa won the D2 NCAA baseball again. Yes, they did. It was their third in a row, if I'm not mistaken. We also had St. Leo softball capturing its first D2 national championship. That is a big local flex that flies under the sports radar here in Tampa Bay. There is no question. Congratulations to both of those programs. Amazing. Amazing. Aviation says UT also won the lacrosse D2 national championship. Okay, well, I don't have that on my Tampa Bay championship list. So thanks, Aviation, for that. We got to recognize all these things, guys. These things are important, man. It's important to community. It's important to the programs. It's obviously important to those student athletes that are playing and fighting for these things. Just because it's D2 doesn't mean it ain't good. That is a fact, Jack. We had some breaking news as I was on with Tito talking fantasy football a little bit ago. Those of you following the Brendan Sorsby gambling situation, he has been granted a temporary injunction against the NCAA and will be eligible to play for the Red Raiders in 2026. Of course, he was ruled ineligible by the NCAA earlier. He acknowledged to gambling on sports, including his own team when he was at Indiana. The Monday ruling by District Judge Ken Curry in shocking Lubbock County restores his eligibility. And the ruling said, quote, the NCAA cannot prevent him from practicing, playing, or otherwise participating on Texas Tech's football team for the 2026 season, end quote. The ruling also said that Sorsby, quote, demonstrated that he will suffer probable, imminent, and irreparable injury if this court does not issue this temporary injunction because he will be unable to participate as a member of Texas Tech University's 2026 football season, end quote. So that was the big news that broke, and now I'm seeing other things coming across the ticker. It looks like the court ruling also imposes a 2-game suspension on him, which, I mean, you would expect that. And then I also saw an additional quote from the NCAA that said about the judge's ruling that it, quote, undermines and corrupts the integrity of sports, end quote. And look, I'm a Texas Tech guy. I obviously cover the university. I cover all of the programs. I'm a big supporter of the football team. I'm excited about Sorsby being here. Number one, I don't know that I expected him to play after this. I did not think there was any way that he would have eligibility after this scandal, and that's exactly what it is. But here we are. And even with the 2-game suspension, I'm here for it. Now, I'm assuming that's going to be to start the season. I don't have their schedule in front of me, but that will put Joey McGuire and the Red Raiders in somewhat of still a hole because they don't really have a quarterback for those first 2 games. Will Hammond, who would be expected to play, is still recovering from a torn ACL suffered last October. He will not be ready to start the season. So I'm not real sure. Of course, usually to start the season, they're cream puff opponents, right? I don't have their schedule in front of me and, you know, how that affects UCF and the Big 12 and all of that. I'm not sure, but I'm sure you'll be hearing more about that as we get to it. Play Blues Wolf, gambling is destroying all sports. It's the WWE model in full force. I don't know if it's destroying all sports, but because it's been around as long as sports have been around. But, yeah, I don't know that in its current form and the current model that we have, if it's doing any good. That's for damn sure. And, you know, I get not letting players gamble on sports, especially your own team, but I don't know how they're expected to be sheltered from all of this when gambling companies are such a big part of all sports leagues, including college. The TV broadcasts and all of this. I mean, it's a very incestual thing, especially in pros. But here we are. Aviation says college football is the Wild West. Anything goes. That is true of pretty much all athletics right now. Rick says if he wasn't making $5 million a year, that quarterback would still be in rehab or Vegas. I hope it's on his insurance. It's probably covered. So there you go. Let's get into the Baker Mayfield situation. Oh, we can't pass up. Bell's in. Bell's in, guys. Bell's in. Everybody stop. Bell's here. Gotta say hi to Bell. Hey, Bell. Good Monday. Peterman's just got here, but I'm gonna rewind. Hope you're having a good day. Double star. Well, good morning to you also, Bell. So Baker Mayfield entering the final year of his 3-year contract with the Bucs has been very quiet about his contract stats. He's been quiet about everything this offseason. Hasn't commented on anything. The draft, hasn't commented on Mike leaving, hasn't really commented on anything until recently. And he has been very quiet about his contract negotiations or his lack of a contract beyond this season. Had not given anybody a timeline. The team really hasn't addressed it much other than we want Baker here and we believe Baker wants to be here. Well, now that's changed. Not that they still want this to work. They still want, I believe, each side wants to cut a deal. But I feel like now we have a little bit of a timeline. Let's listen to Baker Mayfield's comments right from the Mayfield's mouth about his current contract situation and where they are.
I think, first and foremost, regardless, we've built roots here in Tampa. We love the community. We love being here. They've embraced us, and we enjoy being here. And obviously going to raise kids here. But, yeah, contract stuff, it's happening. It's starting, the talks and whatnot. But not anywhere close to what, we were thinking. So would love to be here long term. And as of right now, that's not exactly the case. But I'm under contract for 2026, and the guys in that locker room, the staff know that I'm still going to be me. I'm still going to do everything I can to help this team win a Super Bowl. And that's, to me, that's the priority. Everything else will take care of itself. Obviously, yes, I would love to have a long-term deal done, but they know my deadline is as soon as training camp starts, we're not doing any contract stuff. It's all ball. So it's not up to me when that gets done by. But so hopefully before that. If not, we're still gonna have a good year.
So a couple of things here sort of stand out to me. The first one is that the talks have just started. Why are the contract talks just now starting on June 8th, or even whenever this was from over the weekend? Contract talks could have started as soon as the season ended. Maybe you want to wait till after the draft. Okay, cool. We're well over a month after the draft. I don't know if it's a situation of, and JP and I have talked about this, does Baker really want to negotiate now and get a deal done, or does he want to play next year? Because obviously his numbers last year, if that's what they're negotiating on, weren't great. And it was by no fault of his own, injury. But if he's negotiating based on those numbers from last year, 3,693 yards, 26 touchdowns, he might not want to negotiate. Now, if you go back to 2023 and 2024, when he had his 2 career years, that's probably more the Baker Mayfield that we expect, right? I don't know if we expect 4,500 passing yards every year or 41 touchdowns every year, but certainly closer to that than 3,600 yards and 26 touchdowns, at least for me. Maybe y'all agree. Maybe you don't. So I don't know if this is a situation where Baker just kind of halfway doesn't want to negotiate, and he's like, if they but again, I don't know if he's going to come out and say, I'm ready to negotiate when they are. That's kind of putting the team in a bad spot. So he might just be toting the company line right here. And I am in full 100% agreement. It's a word that I use often, that you should not negotiate after training camp. You either get it done before then, or once training camp starts, it's got to be off the table, because Baker does not need that distraction. No player needs that distraction of negotiating a contract during camp, preseason, and God almighty, definitely not during the regular season. And look, I know it's the agent, right? That's not necessarily the player taking calls every day. Well, what if we do this? What if we do this? But he is involved in those things. And he needs to be sheltered from those things during time that it's time to learn and time to play. I don't care how long of a seasoned veteran you are, how long you've been with a team, how long you've been in the league. No player should have to deal with that. I've always hated that. We're in that situation with George Pickens now in Dallas. He'll be playing under the franchise tag, $27.34 million. And the team will not negotiate a new deal, and they've already said until after the season. Rightfully so. So will a deal get done with Baker before training camp? I would not count on it. And I would count on Baker playing 2026 under his current contract. $33.5 million, I think, is what he's making. It's not like it's chump change, especially compared to his 1-year prove-it deal that he played for 8. Maybe 8.5. I don't remember exactly what it was. But look, if Baker wants to be in Tampa Bay, Baker will be in Tampa Bay if they continue to treat him well. And I have no reason to think that they shouldn't. Now, a different perspective on this. Good Morning Football talked about this morning. Let's hear what those boys had to say about the Baker Mayfield contract situation.
Yeah, I think I was with you at first, man, Ty. I didn't think it was a big deal, but more I stewed on it, I'm starting to think it is a big deal, because I think the Bucs right now are trying to figure out, is Baker Mayfield still a franchise quarterback, or is he a high-end stabilizer, right? And I think right now, and I give Baker a lot of credit. When Brady left the building, he gave him a lot of credibility. He's tough. He plays tough. He's shown that he can lead a play. You're talking about a locker room that just lost Mike Evans, who just lost Levante David. The last thing they need is a disgruntled Baker Mayfield going into training camp. They can't afford that. So they have to figure this out, KB, hopefully sooner than later.
So I don't disagree with any of that necessarily. The question that I would have, and look, this is just speculation on their part, right? If the Bucs truly don't think or don't anticipate Baker being their franchise quarterback beyond this season, and if they don't, fine. He is 31. He's been banged up. I get it. I think Baker's history, though, will prove he can come back from all of those things. Other than the age, but where does that get you? But if they truly believe that, I don't think they have approached this offseason that way. Like, wouldn't you, with all of the draft capital that they had, I'm not saying necessarily you had to draft a quarterback this year, but going into next year, that means you're going to have to draft a quarterback next offseason. And you're hoping for another division title, which means you're not going to draft very high, although it is supposed to be a deeper quarterback draft. I don't think that they approached this offseason and the draft thinking we're not going to have Baker after next year. I don't see that. Does it mean that they don't feel that way? Well, no, of course not. I just think it was an odd approach to an offseason and a draft if you already have it set in your mind that we're just not sure. It seems like you would have done something to bring a guy in. I don't know, maybe you still can. I don't know who's out there that you think can be your franchise quarterback that's not already on a team. But it's just weird. So I don't know that they think that. Obviously publicly, everybody in the organization has stated Baker's our guy. We want Baker here. And Baker has said, I love it here. My family is here. Just had another kid born there. So I think a deal will get done. I think Baker is the long-term. And when I say long-term, after this year, maybe 3 more years. To me, that's a lot. For a 31-year-old quarterback, a 3-year deal is a long-term deal. But you're gonna have to pay him $50+ million. And I know there's fear that, holy crap, you pay a guy $55 million, you're eating into the budget for the rest of the team. And while that's true, keep in mind the cap goes up more and more every single year, and not by just a little bit. So the deeper you get into a contract for a guy, the less impact it has on your overall roster cap, your overall ability to pay other guys. That's just the way it is, and that's the way it's designed. Do I like that guys are making $50 million to play quarterback? Absolutely not. Do I like that the Cowboys are paying Dak Prescott $60 million to play quarterback? Absolutely not. But more power to the guy. And that's just what market value is in the NFL. Like it or not, you can argue about it till you're blue in the face. That's where we are. Guys aren't worth $50 million. Well, of course they're not worth $50. No one single person is worth $50 million to do anything. It's just how life is. That's how sports is. You want the guy, that's what you're going to have to pay. Do you want a good quarterback for your Buccaneers? Whether it's Baker or somebody else, you're going to spend $50 million a year. That's just the fact. Stop fighting it and stop bitching about it. I swear I hear people all the time, well, we just need to be the first team to stand up and not pay. Okay, that's great. You want Kyle Trask as your full-time quarterback? He's not going to cost you 50. Probably going to cost you 25, which is ludicrous in and of its own right. So that's where I'm at on the Baker thing. Do I think something will get done? I do. Do I think it will cost the team $50 million or more? Yes, I do. Do I think it'll be a long-term deal? I anticipate maybe 3 years, maybe 4, with the last 2 on a 4 or the last 1 on a 3 is kind of a void year. That's just kind of where I'm at on it until we hear something different. And I don't think we will. Baker will finish out his current deal and they'll start negotiating next season or next off season. And keep in mind, when they start negotiating again next off season, what's the difference between negotiating this season and next season? Next off season, because next off season, other teams can also bid for Baker's services. And that could drive the price up. I know he'll be 32, but depending on what kind of season he's coming off of, you can't tell me that there aren't teams out there that would love to have Baker Mayfield as their quarterback, because I think there are. Cleveland might be one of them, by the way. Ironically enough, how funny would that be? Cleveland's going to Cleveland. I know Tito mentioned Deshaun Watson. Boys and girls, that is their quarterback going into the offseason and into training camp. That is their quarterback. Dylan Gabriel is there. Shadur Sanders is there. And Deshaun Watson is who they're going to roll with. Cleveland's going to Cleveland. And I'm sure Baker is so happy to be out of that fiasco. The Jets probably would like to have a guy. I don't know. Pick a team. Dallas is looking for a replacement for Dak in a couple of years. I don't know that they want a 32-year-old guy to be that replacement. Probably not. Is Houston going to move on from CJ? Depends on what kind of year he has. Arizona, good God. Think Arizona wouldn't like to have Baker Mayfield right now? Instead of Jacoby Brissett demanding $30 million to start this year? All the teams got it bad, man. I'm telling you. It's bad everywhere. It's money, money, money. That's all it is these days. All right, boys and girls, that's going to wrap it up. I'm going to close things down here just a little bit early so you guys can get to your lunch, as I've got to do here. I appreciate everybody tuning in today for part 2 of the IndyCarTim Takeover, the JP Peterson Show. It'll be me and JP back tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., with more Tampa Bay talk. We will recap the Red Sox Rays, talk more Baker, talk more Bucs OTAs. Don't know what JP has on the docket for tomorrow guest-wise. I'm guessing maybe Scott Reynolds. Not sure. Haven't seen anything yet, but We'll do something tomorrow. You can count on it. And I will throw the monkey wrench in everything that JP has to talk about. I promise you that, as I normally do. Until tomorrow, boys and girls, appreciate y'all being here. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for making the last couple of days fun. We'll see you tomorrow.